Hi, so let me go through this topic really quick. Today I'm going to tell you the difference between poster colors and acrylic colors by Hobby Ideas and Artists Acrylic colors by various other brands. So I get a lot of requests from people who come to me and ask, I've been painting in acrylic and it's still not turning out as good as it should and I don't know how to do it. Can you please guide me and such? And I have made videos on this before, but I thought I'll specifically address this issue. I've seen a lot of people use Fevicryl Hobby Ideas paints, these ones, and they keep complaining that their acrylic paintings don't turn out as good. So let me tell you the difference. There is a reason that these Fevicryl Hobby Ideas acrylic colors are called Hobby Ideas. They are not meant to be archival, and if you read the back of this, it says things like, before painting, remove starch, iron fabric to reverse after 24 hours. So that means that you can use this safely for fabric colors. You can use it for fabric painting, and these are really good when it comes to that. But if you are planning to do an acrylic painting on canvas that you would like to hang in a gallery someday, then you definitely do not want to choose these colors, because these are meant to be for hobby artists and not for professional acrylic painters. Do remember this. I don't mean that you can just use this for fabric colors, for fabric painting. You can also use it for various other things, for example, say making posters. It may also work well as watercolor paints and so on. And there are lots of options for you if you want to do professional type of acrylic painting. So this Artists Acrylic colors by Camel, this is perfect for you to start with. You could also go for the students acrylic color range, but I do recommend going for Artists Acrylic colors by Camel if you are just starting off. You can also later on switch to Liquitex Basics, and you can also choose Daler Rowney Graduate Acrylics. There are also a lot of different brands and different acrylic paints. I will have the link to the video in the description. Yeah, so do remember. And one more thing, Camel poster colors. This is something a lot of people again use as acrylic colors for acrylic painting, and again this is meant for posters. That's why the name. Do think before you paint and decide what to buy. If you have any questions, do mention them in the comments below and I will get back to you. Let's go ahead and watch the time-lapse video of the acrylic fluid pouring. So I'm starting off with some Liquitex Basics titanium white paint, and I'm adding some black into it. I think this was ivory black. Ivory black isn't as dark as Mars black. So I'm just mixing it in. I want subtle hints of gray coming through. Well, I always do a background before I start fluid pouring. Now I'm starting off with a little bit of black. For this black, I have used Camel Heavy Body Artists Acrylics, and it holds quite a lot of pigment. I prefer using a fan brush to move the paint around. And I've used Liquitex Basics white to add those whites that you see in there. And I keep using a spray bottle to spray it. You can see that effect created of black flowing into the white. The white paint was quite thick. I've just thinned this down with water and no other medium. So here I'm using Daler-Rowney inks. It gets quite tasking to thin down acrylic paints all the time, so when I'm in a hurry I just use the Artists Acrylic inks by Daler-Rowney. I'm using a smaller fan brush to move the paints around now. This is eventually going to be a bird painting. And those of you who have watched me for a while now know that I love painting birds and feathers and fur. So here I'm actually creating the wings of the bird, but this is after the whole background dried. So I went again over it with black and white paint to do the wings. And I'm doing a loose sort of painting here. I am not being very structural. I want this to be a fluid sort of thing. I want it to look kind of like the background itself. So I'm not being very neat with it. I've not yet finished this painting. This is only going to be as much as I've done mostly the background. I always prefer my subjects to look like they are a part of the background, so that's why since I create fluid backgrounds, I tend to make parts of the subject also kind of like that. Now that I'm watching this painting, I feel like it is very neat at this stage, but then I wanted it to be a little messy. So you'll see that spraying of water just added that fluid bit, that messiness to it. So after that dried, I did the second wing. And also somehow I missed out the video in which you can see those subtle hints of purple and turquoise. So while it was drying, I also added a little bit of just 1 or 2 drops of Artists Acrylic inks, the purple and the turquoise, again by Daler-Rowney. There's a lot you can do with fluid acrylic paintings. All you have to do is experiment with it, see what you like. You've seen me move the paint around with a fan brush. A lot of people prefer tilting the canvas in certain directions to move the paint, but I find the fan brush quite more suitable because I can actually decide where I want the paint to flow. So that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos and if you like them, of course. You will find the links to my social media in the description below. So do check that out. I'm quite active on Instagram. You can find the subscribe button here on the top left. Also find a link to my website at the bottom right. You can subscribe to my blog post there and get updates whenever I publish a new post.